How we doing? Sue? Huh? Sue and Larry, we all set down there?
Maybe. Think so.
I was just trying to,
No, I know, training.
you know what I mean, look at the numbers when,
I do.
with, associated with the questions, but I can just, I put it in another
Yep.
screen, I'll just go back and forth. Thank
Yep.
you though.
Kim, you guys set? Yep. You ready to start? Okay, Eric's up there now.
Larry's here, right?
Okay, thank you for coming tonight. Please stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I've got the list. We do not have anybody signed in to speak for the public forum. And I trust because of the hard work of our IT, people are going to be able to hear and see this better than in the past. So good thank you to the IT department on that. Okay, so there is no public forum. So I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the minutes from March 9th. Mrs. Allen, Mr. Curtis, second. Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Excuse me. All right, we don't have financial reports for this meeting. No unfinished business or reports, Mr. Corey?
Correct.
Okay. All right, we're going to move right on to new business under certified staff. I've got A through E. Do I hear a motion for any or all? You want to do one at a time? We can do that. All right. Do I have a motion for A? I missed that. Mr. Curtis, a second. Mrs. Cook, okay, for A. An appointment of the 21st Century Grant Program positions after school. Any questions? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Okay, B, that's a resignation, modified baseball head coach, Mike Groth. Do I have a motion for B? Okay, Mrs. Madigan, Mr. Curtis, second. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Thank you. Okay, C are the appointments for athletic coaches for spring season that are listed. We have a motion for that? Okay. Mr. Nodine motioned. Second, Mrs. Allen. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention real quickly, the reason that we're making those adjustments is because we've had more students interested in participating in baseball this year. So we were able to expand that out. Very excited about that. We still have our share in the high school for one student, if I'm correct, Larry. So right now, it looks like that program is starting to expand, and we're excited about that.
That's nice. All right, any other discussion, questions? All right, we had a motion and a second. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. D, a resignation for athletic director, director of IT, and dean of students, Lawrence H. Lang. Do I see a motion? Mr. Curtis? And Mr. Nodine seconded. Any discussion? I know it's always unfortunate to have somebody leave. He's done, I will say, you've done some nice things to both programs, athletic and IT. So thank you for what you've done. And we certainly wish you luck. We appreciate, I will say, that you've given us this notice, so you're going to be with us till the end of the year. We got to get full mileage out of you between now and then. Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain. Thank you. Resignation of middle school Spanish teacher Angelina Elsanzada. Do I have a motion to accept? Mr. Nodine, a second. Mrs. Allen? Okay, any discussion? You all set?
No,
Yep.
we had Mrs. Enzata with us for the year. And she's done a great job for us. She's has a great connection with students, and certainly want to thank her for everything that she's done in our Spanish department, and in the middle school in general. So I know Mr. Van Orman speaks very highly of her. She has some other opportunities that she'll be taking part of, and we wish her best of luck, just like with Mr. Lang.
Okay, thank you. All right, we had a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Thank you. All right, we're going to move down to two certified staff. There's A through D. Do I hear anything or any particular motion to that? A through D, Mr. Curtis? Can I get a second? Mrs. No, or Mr. I was looking at you, I'm sorry, Kim. All right, A through D. A being an appointment of the account clerk, accounts payable, Emily Mary, excuse me. Resignation, teacher aide, Brittany C. Mack. Correcting resolution for a teacher aide for Serena N. Hendricks. An appointment for a sub-cleaner, Gage A. Harmouth Sovey. Okay, so we got any discussion to that? Any discussion? No? All right, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Okay, thank you. All right, CSE and CPSE recommendations. There we go. You got a motion to accept those? Mr. Curtis? And a second to accept, Mrs. Cook? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Motion to, all those in favor, as they are? Aye. Oppose? And abstain. Thank you. Notice of the annual district meeting and election / budget vote and annual budget hearing on May of '22. Do I have a motion to accept? Mrs. Allen and Mrs. Cook? Cook. I was drawing a blank, I'm sorry. I know you're not thinking. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
I just noticed that we put the budget information on the website that we talked about last time, but it just says when to turn in your petition. It doesn't say when they can be picked up, so. For the
Okay.
board seats, so is
Yeah,
that as of today?
it's open now. They
Okay.
can pick it up. And we actually have had some picked up.
Okay, so it's
So-
at any time now?
Yep.
Before, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Correct.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Correspondence. We have the 22-23 tentative budget. There's a lot of information in our packet, obviously, of information that came. Pull mine out, thank you. All right. We have a motion to accept that as is provided.
What?
Did you,
What are we doing?
on the tentative
No.
budget?
You don't need a motion.
We don't, you're
It's just
right.
correspondence,
I'm getting caught in a trench here.
Yep.
Yeah. Tentative budget, we want to have some,
Yeah, so we
presentation.
can talk a little bit about that. You know, the big highlights, and I'm going to let Bill kind of jump in here too, but our tax levy limit, based on our tax cap calculation, came out to 3.24%. The levy is $4.8 million, a little over of that. which is an increase of about $151,000. Estimated budget for next year is a little over $24 million, and the budget-to-budget increase is about 2%. So Bill has some information for you here that we present every year. And remember that we're still going into the budget development phase. There's a lot of things that are still moving. We still don't have some numbers, and I know that Bill's going to talk a little bit about that. But I just want to be very open that there's a lot of moving parts in this budget that are still occurring.
Yeah, so we were able to reduce the budget a little bit from the last time that you've seen it to bring it down to a little over 2% increase over the current year. The legislature still has not settled their budget yet, so we don't know about how much we're going to get total in foundation aid and overall state aid. I can tell you that I'm hearing numbers that there's not, that the Senate and the Assembly are not really promising too much over what they've given. One number is 120 million, and another number is a little bit more than that. Spread throughout the state, including New York City, that probably won't mean much to us. So we can probably count on our state aid staying relatively flat from what the executive runs told us. The appropriated fund balance, I just want to mention that. We did increase that a little bit. If we do get any extra money from the state, we are going to reduce that appropriated fund balance. If we find any more room in the budget, I also want to decrease that appropriated fund balance. I was able to balance the budget, so what you're looking at is a total of the revenues and expenses. But we did have to make some adjustments in the budget to do that, which at the last meeting I explained that. We were well over $1 million. We had a well over $1 million gap, and we were able to close that. I did also attach the reserve balances so that you could take a look at what we've got in our reserve funds. We are currently using some of them. What we do is we use that as revenue in the budget, and if we need it, we'll pull it, and then if we have any money left over, we'll go ahead and we'll replenish that into those reserves.
So one of the most common practices for that is our purchase of buses.
Yes, the capital reserve for buses. The proposition that's going to be going on the ballot calls for the purchase of buses. That money will be coming out of the reserves, and then if we have any left over, we'll put some more money back into that reserve up to the limit so that we have a funding source and we don't have to put that into our budget.
And you can see that our reserves that we have here are pretty healthy reserves at this point in time. So long-term fiscal planning is to make sure that we're, when we reduce those resources, that we're replenishing those, and that's what Bill's talking about.
Yes.
So on the buses, I know the reserve for the buses only can be used for buses purchases?
That is correct.
Right. And are the rest of them the same way? They can only be used for that one specific thing? The unemployment reserve.
Unemployment reserve, workers' compensation reserve, the employee benefit EBLAR, and the employee retirement contribution and the teacher's retirement. The way that works, and I'm going to use round numbers. If we spend $20,000 on unemployment, I can pull $20,000 out of the reserve. If I budget $20,000, but I only use 10, I can only pull $10,000 out of that reserve. So they're basically use as you pay reserves. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, do we have a lot of unemployment?
We actually, unfortunately, we did, but then we were reimbursed in the following year.
COVID, right?
We did. What happened was we had to pay that up front, and then we were reimbursed by the state through the federal government reimbursed the state, then they reimbursed us. So it was sort of a way for us to be able to fund it up front, and then we got the money back.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Were there any other
I
questions?
mean, that's the same thing that we have in several other areas. You spend it up front, you get reimbursed back.
It is with the, with a lot of our aid.
Right.
The hardware, software, textbooks, library aid, a lot of that, we will, BOCES aid, we'll actually spend it and then get it back. Building aid is another good example of that.
Okay. Good. Any other questions for Mr. McDonald? No? Okay, thank you. Administrative reports or correspondence and reports.
Sure. So starting off, tomorrow night, we have our district-wide art show and district-wide concert. So you probably saw the art set up on the way in the foyer, but we do have our concert set up tomorrow. It's a little bit different due to COVID and how we've structured things in really getting people back in place. So in person, but we'll also be live streaming that concert. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock is the first part of the concert. There'll be 2 songs per area, so the middle school will have a couple songs, and then it'll transition into the elementary school and then back into the high school. So that we're anticipating a pretty interesting event that will potentially bring out quite a few members of our community. We're excited to have those members coming back through the doors, and it's nice to see. Inventive Minds is the 22nd annual competition, March 22nd, at Kyler APE. Room starting at around 4:45 for people to come in and view. So we have 3 other school districts that are joining us: Hannibal, Clyde, Savannah, and Lyons, and of course Red Creek. That's run by Tammy Curtis and Nora Bartholomew, and they had their first session of that last 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. It was yesterday. That's all it was? So yesterday, and they will finish up on Friday. So we're excited about that. We anticipate a really nice event, so if you have an opportunity, stop by for that. Middle school field trip. Mr. Van Orman is working with Hannibal right now for a couple field trips opportunities. Hannibal reached out to us, and they had some opportunities that they could include Red Creek in, so they were kind enough to do that. And I don't know if we're 100% worked out yet. This is recently in the last day or two that we've been working through this, but they're looking to send students to the On Center in Syracuse, possibly for Riverdance and Hannibal. So that they're good opportunities for our students, and we want to thank Hamilton. I'm sorry. We want to thank Hannibal for offering this opportunity, and they've been very kind to help us with that. We have a senior trip, which I have a letter here from Mrs. Zeck for each of you. Her intent was to be here this evening and to talk to you about this trip. It's a little bit different than we've done in the past, but I have a couple little highlights here. Please feel free to read through it, and I can have her come back out and talk if we'd like to. But it's a shift. Usually we do the Boston trip. This is a shift to a Dude Ranch instead that has several opportunities for our students, and it looks like a pretty nice event. Financially, it's a little more cost-effective for our families and our students, and it's something that we can actually, it's within close proximity, so we could actually have our own transportation department transport our students to this event. So they're looking at May 13th through May 15th. Cost per student is $369 per student. They're doing some fundraising opportunities for that, and she lists that in there. So unfortunately, Nicole is not here this evening, but she wanted me to share this letter with you so you had an opportunity to read through it and then reach out either to myself, to myself, and I'll forward anything to Nicole so that she can follow up with any questions that you may have. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. She used the process of working with the kids to find out what they'd really be interested in. And I think when she started, she really thought, well, they're going to all want to go on the same trip that they have always gone on, but they started to get pretty excited about this. So I think that's a positive thing involving the kids in that decision-making opportunity. Let's see. We're working through the end of the year on a lot of different events. Specifically, high school is busy this time of year, planning for the prom and graduation and things like that. So we're working through all those details, Operation Graduation, senior lock-in, those types of things. So As we go through the year, we are obviously monitoring the impact that COVID has right now, but also trying to bring back some of those traditional events that we've had for our students as traditional as possible and in person as possible. So a lot of great things happening there. Graduation, we're working on continuing an outdoor graduation at this point in time. So more information will be coming out shortly on that. We've had it for the last 2 years outdoors, and it's been a fantastic event and pretty widely received by our students in our community and our staff. So we're excited about that, and we plan on continuing along those same lines. Science Olympiad went to States on Saturday. Mrs. Hinman and her family and myself were in attendance there as well. The students did a great job. Very long weekend for them. They did place 10th in rocks and minerals, so that's exciting. They were up against some very, very challenging and very large school districts. A lot of school districts from downstate. There were tech schools there. There's science schools there, and our kids did a great job. They look exhausted at the end of Saturday evening, but they did a fantastic job, and they were really proud of themselves, and they should be proud of themselves, so they did a nice job. We're currently working on summer school, 2 different summer school programs at this point in time, 7 through 12, joint summer school, which will take place here in Red Creek with Clyde Savannah at this point in time. And we're working through the process of hiring an administrator for that and then moving into to the next process of hiring staff. Elementary school, we are planning an elementary summer school program similar to what we had last year. We are in the very beginning phases of that. There's some questions about funding sources and how we're going to move forward with that. We've worked through some of the preliminary conversations of that, and we'll start to certainly reach out to staff soon and look to fill those positions. Good news on our SRO. So Wayne County Sheriff's has filled the SRO vacancy that was created by Travis Dunn leaving. So we have Deputy Brian Larkin, who is he has a bunch of experience in law enforcement in different agencies. Very nice guy. Rain and I met with him Monday, I think. Yesterday? Boy, yesterday was a long time ago. So Monday, okay. So we met with him Monday morning. He actually started here on Friday. He's starting to get to introduce himself to some staff. We're introducing him as well. But I think it's going to be a very positive thing for our school district. So we're excited to have Deputy Larkin with us, and you will certainly meet him at some point as well. If you notice, you should have a copy of Mr. Van Orman's letter. It was unfortunately left out of the board packet, so please, if you get a chance, you'd like to read through that and have any questions, you can certainly let me know and we'll get that out. Sure.
I'd like to know what the social emotional anti-bullying program is called.
Yeah, so Mr. Van Orman and I spoke about 2 weeks ago, and he actually went out and investigated a program that's done in a neighboring school, Gananda. I think you mentioned that in there. So what his thought process was is to work with his staff to really find the needs of some kind of a program and then investigate what programs are out there and available. So Matt, do you want to add anything in there? I know you have one specific one that you're leaning towards.
Yeah, we were just, that particular school happened to have that program coming for them. At the same time, I reached out to all the principals and teachers. So, just as part of our process of investigating exactly what is out there, I thought it was prudent for me to lay my eyes on exactly what that program looked like. I have some other follow-ups, actually taking place tomorrow, phone conferences,
Good, okay.
Any questions about any of the, we have Raina, Larry, Brian, and Matt here, so any questions on any of their communications?
I've been in contact with Rena, so
Great,
we've been emailing back and forth.
thank you.
Yeah, what's the plan for the Smart Bond stakeholder group? Larry, you'll see that through to the end of this year? Okay.
Right, that's your community review process for 30 days, so that you provide feedback and make any adjustments that you need to.
Good, thank you. That help you, Kim?
Yes, I thought I had one other question. Sorry, I'm looking.
Great. That's it.
Okay, I wanted to bring one update an update to the board based on some information I gathered today. Last meeting, we talked about, or we had spoken, that there was we had a retreat scheduled for this weekend, March 26th, due to a death of the facilitator's family, and within the facilitator's family, which actually the services are gonna be this weekend. So he certainly could not do it, but in discussion with New York State School Boards, they really did not have anybody that could pick up with what was already being put together. It would not allow time to that new person to even put something together with the scope that's needed. In discussion with the New York State School Boards today, a recommendation was made, and I know that I had shared with you some dates that the facilitator had provided out there, but the New York State School Boards gave us a good recommendation today that, given the scope of time of what we're working on now for the budget and everything between now and through budget vote, that we actually wait until after the budget vote, because there will also be new board members that will be elected, however the election takes place, and the law allows us to include them into the retreat as well. So in terms of the fullness of a retreat, it will allow all of us plus any newcomers. So we certainly want anybody who's leaving the board but still on the board. So we're talking sometime in the early June, because the budget vote, correct me if I'm wrong, is the 17th of May.
Correct.
So, and then we got the Memorial Day coming on. So thinking about the first weekend of something like that in June. So I'm going to be sending you out a clarity of that timing and have you be able to respond, so then we can keep this person who's already started work on it, disrupted with the death, able to complete and be able to facilitate for us. So any questions with regard to that? I mean, the best laid plans of men and mice, as they say, fall apart, and you got to do something different.
Are we in agreement that we want to wait till then, because that's the recommendation from NYSBA at this point?
At this point in time, they don't have anybody even available to pick up and do it. They've got their people are scheduled. One of the leaders that we talked to today said their people are staffed doing other
Until June?
events.
Right,
Not
in
until,
April.
Well, that's what she's asking.
Well-
Because should we take an earlier date, or should we,
Right, or
is
should
it
we-
all of us that want to wait till June?
the recommendation was we would get more benefit out of this by waiting, and particularly at this point in the year. So, discussion, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's benefit in having the new board members there, because it will allow you to get a jump start on anyone who is new to being a board member. A retreat is a great opportunity for a new board member, and, with the dates that were offered, if you're gonna wait until May,
Yeah.
you might as
May as
well
well.
wait until June, right? And then have the benefit of any newly elected board members there. I think there's I think there's advantage to waiting, just because it would be a great opportunity, you know, for any newly elected board members to participate in a retreat that, I mean, that fresh out of the chute.
And if I'm correct, the recommendation was you could still allow the current board members,
yeah.
Yes.
even if they're not currently on the, or not shifting forward on the board, to attend that
Yes.
retreat with the
Right.
other
And,
members.
and actually, the recommendation was it would be wise to include everybody, because we still have to finish the year. And then, but there, everybody needs to be able to be part of that.
Right.
And brings to that, you know, what they want to bring to the retreat, and what would be beneficial to us in terms of functioning as a board, for, you know, as a board and for the district.
Either way, like I said, I just can't do it next weekend, that's all.
Right.
But if you want to wait until June, you know, I think it's, if we're this far along anyhow, we muster it that little bit longer and push our way through it.
I agree. I think that sounds like a great plan to include new people that could potentially be on the board, as
Right.
well as get the input of those that have been on the board for the experience that comes with that.
Yeah.
I agree with it too. Summer months tend to get kind of crazy though, so if we could start to,
Nail it
yeah,
down.
Nail it down
hammer
now.
that out as soon as we
Yeah.
can, just so
Yeah.
that
The
we can
beginning of June.
be available.
Anybody got their calendar open? I thought June was like June, the first Saturday was something like second. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No idea. The 4th.
Is it the 4th?
Good try.
I don't even know what today is.
June 4th,
Not
June
June
11th.
4th.
Not June?
Well, you could actually really start the end of May.
Right.
The
Right.
board members would be
Could
Right.
do the 28th.
elected middle of
28th is
May.
Memorial Day
Well,
weekend.
yeah, 28th
Right.
is Memorial Day
Oh,
weekend.
is
The
it?
That's-
21st,
It's not good.
so it'll be May 21st, June 4th, June 11th.
May
When-
21st is prom. so I wanna do-
17th, correct. May 21st, you said.
No,
No, I know, but,
Well, I did say it, but it's not gonna work.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
May 21st is prom, so
Oh.
can we go after,
I
the
gotta
week
get a
after?
date.
I think you want to go
Fourth is
into
our
June.
earliest.
Yep,
The 4th is probably your earliest.
Yeah,
4th and 11th
Yeah.
would be the two options.
okay, the 4th and the 11th. Do you want to check your calendars, and then I send you a notice, and you let me know which of those two work best? That way we can nail them in.
does that mean that they could do either date?
Yep,
They
yep,
could do the 4th or the 11th?
11th, yep.
I think if you give them a couple options, though,
Yeah,
you know what I
could
mean?
make either work.
okay. Do you want to tell me right now, and I just don't, I avoid having to email? Yeah, Kate, you said,
Yep, I'll make either of them work.
Kate?
Yep.
You know,
As of now, either.
okay, so it's the 4th and 11th, 4th and 11th, works, Kim? You want to check your
I'll need to
calendar?
check in on that.
Okay,
I can make the 4th work, the 11th would be a little easier, but I can make it work,
okay,
just saying.
all right.
I got 250 grapes to plant.
I'm opposite of Larry. I can do either one, but the 4th is better for me.
Okay,
I can make either one.
Either one, yeah, I can do.
So
okay,
he's picking her grapes early.
all right.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, I'm sure I'm good for either one, though.
It's
It's
good to have
actually-
the lead time there.
Right.
You know, because people's calendars fill up.
Making sure.
Yeah, fill up fast, yeah. Okay,
Even us that don't have little kids.
You do.
Right?
You try to fill it up when you have little kids.
I will, given this, I also double-checked with Daryl today. He still has health issue, another health issue that popped up since I talked to him before the last meeting. That just came out of nowhere. He said, so still could not get here tonight. But I told him we were gonna discuss this. He may be watching us, we can wave if you want. But I told him that we would see if we could find pretty soon a date, and then, so he also knows. Okay, so I will be sharing these two dates with him as well.
Can they use the second version that we sent back?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have to do it again?
No,
Okay.
it's done. As a matter of fact, they did report back to us today that they, at that point, they'd gotten in, I think, 6 out of 7 at that point, anyway, right? So, yeah,
So if there's any new potential board members, what do they do?
the new
That's a good point.
potential,
Do they get- mean,
I will
obviously-
ask them
Okay.
if they have a survey that would be beneficial for them.
Okay,
Tailored to what a
To
new
a new board
would,
member,
right.
yeah, okay,
just a thought.
okay, thank you. All right, I will ask them that, thank you. Because part of that would, be well, that would give time, they'd have to do it pretty pronto, we have to give them the information so they could do that.
Some of those
They need-
questions wouldn't be applicable to,
Yeah, some of them would not be, yeah, so, all right. Any other discussion with regard to that? I appreciate the patience, and it's set us all back, but it is what it is. Any other questions?
I have a go back, not on this, on that subject. on
Okay,
one
go
other
ahead.
thing. On, going back on E4, I wanted to point out that the Red Creek Library was asking for it. It's gonna be on the ballot to vote this year, isn't it? For another $12,000?
I haven't heard anything.
Oh, I thought it was in the,
Have you heard anything?
wasn't it in the packet? Maybe I looked at it wrong, huh?
Every year the library asks for money.
Doesn't it go
With
every
your
other
computer?
year? Isn't it Fairhaven, Red Creek, Fairhaven?
Correct.
I think
Yeah.
the flip, it switches between the two.
It's
My
on,
computer.
Is it
shut
on
down.
that sheet?
Let me open it back up.
Yeah.
it's on the printed sheet, Larry.
No,
It was
in
the-
our,
it
on
was
our
in the-
computer, on the,
Yeah, I'm just saying you
Yeah.
have it printed
So,
too.
I'll,
right in the
I'll
middle.
check into it, Larry, where they
okay.
are.
I could have
Because
swore
that would be
they're
a
asking
separate
for-
resolution.
The second page of the legal notice.
Which one you on,
The
Kate?
second page of the legal notice, right in the middle, it says notice is all given that a proposition, and then it says $12,000.
Yeah, so they're asking for another 12,000 for addition, for a total
I'll
of
confirm that.
62.
Yeah, I'll confirm it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll know that for the next meeting.
Yep. All right. Any other questions?
Can I
Yes.
just ask what the question was? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
No,
beginning.
it's just, I wanted to, because it's gonna be on the voting, is it, that's part of the proposition,
On the ballot,
Yeah,
you're asking? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's
I
what I
couldn't
was
understand
asking
what you were
was-
saying at first.
Yeah.
is that they're asking for another 12,000, so their total would be $64,000 to the taxpayers.
Red Creek.
Red Creek this year.
We have a
Okay.
new person now.
Yep. All right, any other questions? All right, that's for you, all set? Okay, we will move into executive session because we have a, personnel, for an employment issue to discuss. All right? Motion to adjourn. Mrs. Madigan,
No, motion to move into exec.
or motion,
Yeah.
yes, move into exec.
I mean, I will, a
Yeah,
motion
yeah,
to
yeah,
adjourn if you
right.
want.
All right, and Mrs. Allen seconded.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.